think it's better that I start the course by quoting a verse which I read in Ramayana, which in fact started the whole thing. While discussing the education which Rama and his brothers undertook, Valmiki says, what kind of education was given to Rama and his brothers? He says, the kind of education they got was, 1. Sarve Vedavide Shuraha, Sarve Lokahite Rataha. They had 3 kinds of education. 1. They were well versed in Vedas, which is the purpose of knowledge. 2nd, they were given knowledge about how to use the weaponry, state of art weaponry. Good. But there was a third component. It was they were very sensitive towards the greater good of the society. So, the underlying point which I am borrowing from this verse is, if you want to call yourself as an educated person, then you should have these 3 qualities. Broadly, we can classify this under 3 categories. 1 is you should have very good theoretical knowledge. 2nd is you should know how to apply it. And 3, you should temper this knowledge and application with this sensitivity that you should do something good for the society. Or more broadly, I can classify these 3 things under 2 categories. That is, the right and the duty of a person. It is very important for us in this subject to understand this, because here we are looking at what makes a complete professional. What makes a complete professional? So I would say, to understand what makes a good professional, should understand what are his rights and what are his duties. Because at the end of the day, profession is nothing but a contractual agreement of a group of people with the society. How does one profession come into picture? A group of people who have a certain set of specific knowledge will say, we will give this service to you, the society, and you society, you grant us these rights. It's a kind of contract. You can see that all groups enter into some kind of contracts with society. In fact, citizenry is also a contractual agreement. Let me put it this way. We are all citizens of India. What does that mean? That means we enjoy some rights. Correct? But equally important is we have a set of duties. Unfortunately, what has happened is the entire debate surrounds only on rights. You see any debate which is happening around somebody being Indian, they always say, this is my right, this is a fundamental right. I have the freedom of speech, I have freedom of this. So their entire discourse is only about rights. It's not a problem only with us. In fact, US citizens are very proud about their First Amendment. The First Amendment in the United States, the Constitution of the United States, gives that freedom to its citizens. That was the First Amendment they did. In fact, it's very interesting to observe that the First Amendment to Indian Constitution was to limit the citizens' rights. There is a big contrast. In US Constitution, the First Amendment was to uphold the rights of citizens. The First Amendment to Indian Constitution was to curtail the rights. But anyway, what I am trying to say is, it is not enough if you see the contract between a group of people and the society only through the lens of rights. There should be discourse on duties also, especially so in professional life. Every professional is special in the society because he has that special skill and knowledge through which he can help the society. And every profession comes into picture because they declare that they can do something good for the society. And every profession exists because the society feels that this professional should exist because they are helping us in some way. That fundamental duty of a professional should never be forgotten. But often, even professionals, they stress on their privileges. They don't think about their duties. The issue is simple in some professions. For example, medicine. In the practice of medicine, the professionals are very clear that their fundamental duty to exist in the society is their ability to serve people. That's very clear for them. There's no ambiguity. Money making in a very ideal world should become a secondary concern. But even then they do understand that serving the society is their primary concern. Some professions it is given, but in some other professions it is difficult. And engineering is one of them. I think largely engineers face an existential crisis. Engineers are, one, not aware. Second, even if they are aware, they are not very sure on what is their place in the society. Do we have some responsibility in the society? Why are we doing what we are doing? That those things are not clear for engineers. I think that is mainly because as a profession, engineers are not a well-knit society. We do not have a group which represents us correctly. And most importantly, we are not recognized by a society as an organized group which can be self-managed. Let me be clear. The profession of medicine is well governed by people who are practicing it. There is Medical Council of India. Medical Council of India tells who can become doctor, what kind of education he should go through. And once he has gone through this education, they have a mechanism wherein they will license the practicing professionals. If something goes wrong, they will say, no, we will take back your license, you can no more practice it. They are well organized. And any problem comes in the profession, there is a body which can represent them. Unfortunately for engineers, there is no representative body. And more importantly, engineering is a fragmented profession. We do not have a unified front. Though in medicine, they have specialization even in medicine. But ultimately they are doctors. They all have that unique identity of being doctors. Whether it is their practice of wearing the white apron or whether they are having an emblem, they have that unified symbol which represents them. It's not that the neurosurgeon has a different symbol, it's not that the cardiologist will have a different symbol, it's not that, right? Doctor is a doctor. You can visually identify a doctor because of various practices which have evolved over time. But in engineering it is not so. We do not have a unified front. Problem is acute because here one engineer cannot talk in a common language with the other engineer. We have very less in common. For example, if somebody asks, what does an engineer do? There will not be an answer at all. The question should be specific. We should ask, what will a civil engineer do? What will a mechanical engineer do? Or what will a software engineer do? Then we may attempt to answer. But if the question is, what will an engineer do? We don't have an answer. Because a common thread which binds different engineering professionals does not exist. Whether there are historical reasons for this, or whether this fragmentation was the need of the market, we do not know. But that is a truth. And therefore, this question of the social utility of engineers often goes unanswered. It's not that people don't think about this. I hope at some point of time you may also have thought about it. So what am I doing here? What is that village? But that questions will usually be in the personal level. You want to answer those questions at a personal level. What am I supposed to do? After 2 years, what will I do after the graduation? I mean, going work. So the answer will be personal, not in a broader social context. What am I supposed to do to the society? Do I have a role to play in the society? There is a strange argument which I have heard that it is not necessary for everyone to think about society. Like for example, it's not necessary for all of us to think, what will I contribute to the society, what will I contribute to the society. The argument is this: if everybody takes care of themselves and their immediate family, and if everybody thinks so, won't the society be good in itself? Think about it. I'll just take care of my family. He will take care of his family. She will take care of her family. Every family will do those things which are important for the good keeping of that family. And if you multiply this to the entire world, if everyone takes care of themselves, won't the entire world be good in itself? Why should I take care of someone else? Why should someone else take care of me? Let's all take care of ourselves. Will it not be a just society? It will be an interesting argument. But nevertheless, all of us understand that as professionals, we do have some duty. Why? Why? Because we have been given some privileges. Because you enjoy some rights, you definitely have some duty. As an Indian citizen, you enjoy some rights. That definitely means you should deliver the duty. I hope that I have convinced all. When there is right, there should be the duty. So even in our profession, if you go back, I may have told this many times in the previous lectures, the birth of engineering profession happened also in the same way. The man who is forgotten in the history today, Thomas Treadgold, I hope the name rings something familiar to you. I've been telling his name from a long time. Thomas Treadgold, who defined engineering for the very first time, had given the definition something in the lines of what we are talking about. Thomas Treadgold said that engineering is using the forces in the nature for the betterment of man. So that idea was there even then, even when the first definition of engineering was given. And subsequently when the different branches of engineering came out, all of them proclaimed that they have to work towards betterment of man. That is understood. So the first part of argument which I had to make, I think is complete. But I think I somehow have convinced you that we as professionals, we do have some duty towards the society. One. What is the duty? The duty is to see that the larger good for the society is met with the specific knowledge we have learned. That is the first part of it. Now let me come to the second part. Yes, we have to work for the larger good of the society. Agreed. Who will tell me what is good? That is the question. Who will tell me what is good for society? For that matter, how do we decide what is good and what is bad? That is the second question. This is a very complicated question. How to decide something as good or bad? How do we decide? In general, how do we say this is good, this is bad? When do we say something is good and when do we say something is bad? Do we have our own individual sense of rightness and wrongness inbuilt in us? There's something in us which tells this is good, this is bad. Is it that? Is it that all of us have something built in? When we were born, something was, special power was given to us to judge, and we individually can judge this is good, this is bad. Is it the case? Or is it that what is good and what is bad is actually the result of our upbringing? The society we belong to, our immediate surroundings, they tell us what is good and bad. Is it the case? As I told, this question is quite complex. There cannot be easy answers for this. Let me try to summarize some of the ways in which we decide what is good and what is bad. The first thing we look for is the law of the land. If the law of the land says it is right, it is right. If the law says it is wrong, it is wrong. Irrespective of what you may think. That's very important. Irrespective of what your personal opinion is. If the law says this is wrong, it is wrong. If the law says this is right, it is right. In a society, the first thing that all of us should accept is to respect law. If you say I won't respect law in society, then the society will be a chaotic society. Nothing can work in society. The minimum requirement for the society to run is that its citizens should be law-abiding citizens. It's an extreme case that what will happen if citizens don't abide by the law. Does it mean that we should accept whatever is there in the law? It may not be the case. The law may be unjust. Law, there may be a need to tune or amend the law as per the changing aspirations of people. These are all there. But even in this changing circumstances, the fundamental thing for us is all of us should accept that we will respect law. So if the law says this is right, we will accept it. If the law says this is wrong, we will accept it. But I don't know whether you have understood, whether something flashed to you. Actually, law does not say this is right. Law does not make positive statements. It makes negative statements. It says you cannot do this. Law never says you can do this. Have you seen any law which says, citizens of India, you can do this. It will never say that. It will say, you cannot do this. And if you do this, it should not be done. You will be punished this way. That is law. Law always says, hey, you have done this is wrong, so this is your punishment. Have you ever heard a court saying, hey, come, you have done a good thing, so take 1,000 rupees gift? Have you heard anything like that? Court never does that. Court never recognizes what is right. Court can give judgment on what is wrong. So the law says what should not be done. Court never says, law never says what should be done. It says what you should not do. Can you construct the entire argument of what people should do just by saying what they should not do? Yes, it may be possible. You say you should not do this, you should not do this, you should not do this, you should not do this. Some religions do speak about the conduct like this. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. You do separate. Anyway, so the first place where we look for to check whether something is good or bad is law. That is first point. Law applies to everyone, irrespective of your religion, your cultural beliefs, your gender, or whatever. Law applies to everyone. All of us accept. Only in India, there is an exception. If you belong to Jammu and Kashmir, the law does not apply to you. I hope you know the controversy. For all others, law applies. Only for Jammu and Kashmir, law does not apply. They have a separate set of law, which is a contentious issue. I don't want to go into politics. But anyway, even in India, we understand that the public behavior of people can be controlled by law. Yes. What about their private affairs? Can law decide the private affairs of people? This is the question. Here we have some problem in India. In India, there is a separate law which governs the private lives of minorities. There is a separate law which governs the private life of majority. We have separate laws. Laws of marriage, laws regarding divorce, laws regarding succession. These laws are different depending upon the community you belong. So if you are a Muslim, if you are a Christian, if you are a Hindu, if you are a Buddhist, if you are a Jain, of course Buddhist, Jains are all, they all come under the fold of Hindus. The laws are different. What marriage laws applies for Hindu does not apply for Muslims. So the state has understood that the public life and private life are separate. So the question is this good? If you ask the question, and if that pertains to the public affair, then we look at law. But if the question is regarding private behavior, then we should go beyond law. That is where the question of ethics and morality comes in. That is the crux of this course. This is where I want to introduce my course. This course is all about ethics. It talks about ethics. What is ethics? Ethics tells you the way you should behave. Now you may ask, you are not primary school children and there cannot be a moral science class. Allah to primary school, now we have come to graduate level. Question is not that. Morals are individual things. I give it. It's individual things. What moral values one has, it may differ with the moral values of others. And probably I am saying, your moral values usually, I think, will be guided by the religion you belong to. They are hugely individual. My religion tells me what should be my moral values. Some other religion will tell them what their moral values should be. If I am a Christian, there is 10 commandments which tells me how I should behave. If I practice Islam, I have my set of 5 principles, founding principles on which I will base my faith. If I am Hindu, then there is separate codes, what we call as Dharma Shastra, on which I will rely on to decide what is right and wrong. From which I derive my moral values. So moral values are individuals. But ethics is not so. Ethics is application of moral values not at an individualistic level but at a collective level. So there is ethics for professionals, which is where we are concentrating on. Ethics is shared value by a group of professionals. So there is ethics of medicine, there is ethics of engineering and ethics of accountants, etc., etc. Every profession will have a code of ethics which people belonging to that profession should follow. We are interested in that. Irrespective of the caste, religion, gender, culture group I belong to, if I am a computer engineer, I have to follow this code of ethics. So if I have to decide whether something is good or bad, first I will say I will look at law. If the law says it is wrong, it is wrong. If the law does not say anything, then I will check the code of ethics. If the code of ethics says it is wrong, case ends there. If the code of ethics also does not have a say, then it comes to my individual level, my morality. Then I will decide what to do in this case. There is this thought experiment which usually is made whenever people discuss about ethics. Let me put across that and see how to react to it. Imagine that there is a train which is coming at a high speed. The train has, say, some 500 people in it. It's coming fast. It's approaching a diversion. The train is coming at a fast. It's coming in a very high speed. It has 500 people. It is coming to a point where it has to diverge. Okay? Crossroad. In crossroad A, if it goes in crossroad A, there are about 10 people standing over there trying to cross the road. They are walking on the path. if the train takes path A, then 10 people will be killed. And there is a path B, where only one single man is walking. You are sitting in the control station. You have to press the switch, A or B. The train is coming at a fast speed, there is no way it can stop. It should either go to path A or path B. There are 10 people who will be killed, here there is one person who will be killed. Which button will you press? There is no option of stopping. There is no option of sitting silent also. If you sit silent, the train will go straight and it will hit somewhere and 500 people will die. It will derail. What will you do? It's just a matter of pressing the switch. As a professional, you have to do that choice. You are the lineman or who you are there. You have to press the button. That's all. Train is coming. What do you do? Will it go A and kill 10 or go B and kill 1? How many of you will press the button B and kill 1? Kill 1. Kill 1 is right, so others will kill 10. If you don't do it, you will kill 500. So what will you do? Kill 1? How many kill 1? Is it majority will kill 1 or what?
Is that one person fine? I mean, physically.
Everybody is safe.
No, then the one person can run across the road.
No, that's not possible, is what it is. That's not possible. Situation is very clear. Nobody can run away from the track. It's all designed in such a way that you have to take this decision. How many of you will press B? Is it a majority decision? Is whatever. Majority of you. Kill one person, save 500 plus 10. Do everything. Now, let me change the scenario. Scenario number 1. What if that one person in the track was Prime Minister? You will kill them or what? Kill Prime Minister. No problem. Save them. Everybody is safe. Or save Prime Minister and save 10. Save Prime Minister or save complex? But still, will you think? Yes, you will think. But now, previously you said you will kill one person. Press B. But what if there is no button? But you have to actually throw the person to save 10. Would you do that? There is one person. Point is okay. Change the scenario. You are going in a boat. You throw one person to save 10%. Would you throw that one person? You have physically do. There was pressing the button. Would you think twice? Before throwing a person, there is no pressing the button. Pressing the button, throwing a person, would it make a difference? Now there also it was one person dying, here also one person dying. There it was pressing button, here I am actually throwing. Will you make a difference? Throwing is actually wrong, but pressing button is okay. Here lies the basic problem. We as computer engineers, we actually don't see the impact of our work. That is a basic problem. We think our job is write the code and give it something. We actually don't deal with people's life, is what we think. Doctors' sense of responsibility is high because they deal with real patients. If the doctor does something, he can see the patient dying in his hands. So he has a greater sense of moral responsibility. But the problem with engineers is, they don't see the actual impact of their work. They think I am isolated. In fact, some of you here may already start thinking, I go, all this. My job at the end of the day is write code, get paid. You get not paid. Why am I supposed to think about all this? That is where the problem of mediation and technology comes into picture. If something is real, we are bothered. If something is mediated, like pressing that button, we don't think much. That is where this course gains its importance. This course is important because we will be seeing how we can encounter such situations, not such dramatic situations, but there will be situations where you have to take a call. The problem comes basically when one set of ideals clash with other. As I said, what is wrong, what is good is decided first by law, then by ethics, then by morality. Once one set of ideas clash with other, there is a problem. For example, let us discuss the case of what? Say for example, okay, let's look back at the time when India did not have independence, when India was under British. British were ruling us. They had some set of law. What was the duty of the citizen then? Was the duty of citizen to obey the law? Obeying law means obeying Britishers. Or would they have objected to the law, stood against the law and fought against it? That is the question. What Gandhiji and others thought for a long time was, don't disobey law. Work within the framework of law to come up with some solution. There were other group of people, the revolutionaries, who said that no, we don't accept this part. We will find our own way. There was a clash in the approach. It happens even today. For example, imagine that there is a law which people do not like. If you want an issue which you may understand, there is this law in India which makes it an offense for people of same sex to marry. It's an offense which is punishable under Indian law. But the worldwide thinking today is that this thing should be decriminalized and we should take it more humane view of it. Now what will you do? Will you go against law or will you accept the law and stay law? Or sometimes there will be a pressing question of individual morality and the law. For example, say a doctor working in a hospital may feel very strongly that the person whom he is treating has no chance of recovery and it is better that they end his or her life, the patient's life. The doctor will strongly feel about it. But the law of this country says this is wrong. In fact, there is this one case which is going on in the court now, you may have heard it, saying that the Sallekana, which is done by jains to end their lives, to give up the lives in jails, what they do is they go for voluntary withdrawal from taking food and over a point of time they will die. It's called Sallekana. It's considered to be one of the most purest way of taking out the soul from human body. There is the highest value attached to it in Jain community. But today the court has said that this is wrong. This amounts for suicide. And you can be behind bars if you try to do Sallekana. In fact, trying suicide is wrong in Indian context. So if a farmer attempts suicide and somehow he is saved, he has to go to jail. He will be put behind bars. And knowing the Indian conditions, he may be behind the bars for his entire lifetime. What purpose is served, nobody will ask. So the point which I am trying to make is, when there is a clash between one set of values and other set of values, and you have to choose between them, there will be a problem. That is where we come in. This course will help you. See, it is very easy to choose between good and bad, black and white. It's very easy to choose. Problem comes when you have to choose between two competing goods. That is the challenge. I'll give you a very small example. One of my friends used to complain to me. Usually after you reach an age, you start complaining. I think we have reached that age where we started complaining. Complaining mostly about youngsters. Favorite time pass. When we were there, we were so, see today's people, they are not this. So my friend who is of my age only has started this complaining, telling that people who join his company today are not that driven. They are not pushing themselves hard like they were doing when they joined. The particular instance he gave us this. It seems that one important client had come down from abroad and my friend wanted one of his juniors to be good with that client, to get to know the client better, so that his chances of going abroad improves. So he suggested that the junior come along with the lunch with the client on Sunday. The junior declined the offer because he said, in my house there is some Satyanarayana Puja which is happening and I have to attend it. And my friend was really perplexed, was asking, how can somebody miss an opportunity like this and go and attend Satyanarayana Puja? And this is something just to be really thought about. He has his priority. For him, meeting his family, doing some devotional service. If he values that important, who are you to question? For him, the career growth may not be that important as you. He may become project manager after 5 years. It may be okay with him. So for him, the family values are more important. So we cannot judge like this. So the clashes between morals and the clashes between different goods is what we are interested in. To do that, what will we do is, we'll start by looking at what are the moral choices we actually have. We'll discuss a bit of philosophy basically. Various theories. See, in ethics, there is nothing called as good or bad decisions. There are only defendable decisions. If you do this and say, I have done this because of this and this, the job is done. To do that, you should have the knowledge of certain moral philosophies. So this course will start by looking at certain moral philosophies. Then we will look at certain concrete problems in computer ethics. We will look at problems regarding property issues, privacy, which is very, very important, issues regarding computer crimes, issues regarding communication. We look at that issue. Fundamentally, this course is all about taking up some contemporary issues regarding computers for which there is no clear idea. There is no clear answer in law on what to do, and then using some ethical processes to solve it. That is the gist of this course. We will be using the textbook of Kiga, the latest 5th edition of Kiga, which is an influential book. I also suggest that if possible you read the textbook of Deborah Johnson, who was the first lady who coined this term and introduced this term. So using these two textbooks and using a lot of case studies, we will try to see how we can resolve ethical issues. Finally, for us to understand that as a professional, there is a greater duty that we have to deliver to the society. We will continue in the next.